Welcome back, everyone. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate a little bit about the online program that we're going to be using for the distance learners at home, and also the students that may want to work on some of the stuff at home. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to PIXLR, PIXLR.com, and then we're going to click on Advanced PIXLR E. So what will happen is you'll have an account or an image that gets brought up. I'm signed in here, so I can log out. It's a free subscription, so I recommend probably just creating an account. That way you have access to your files in the online program. But I'm also going to show you how to save your work as well once you get into creating images. So it works a lot like Photoshop. That's why I think I chose this one, is because a lot of these things are going to be familiar or similar to Photoshop. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Create New. You can create whichever size that you want to use. I'm just going to choose the one that looks kind of the largest here. So this one, 2048 by 2048, or the 2160 by 2160. It's a little bit larger. Might take a little bit longer to load. We'll try the full HD one here. The size really doesn't matter as far as when you're creating your document. But you'll notice now I have a sheet of paper. Okay. In Photoshop, it works the same where you have layers. Right now it's listed as layer 1. In Photoshop, you'll see it says background layer. It has all the toolbars. So if you want to watch the Photoshop tutorials that I showed, those are probably good to view as well. But we'll kind of go through some of these things here on PIXLR. To create a new layer, I'm just going to go ahead and click on Layer, New Layer. And you'll notice a new one pops up. If I want to change the name of it, I can go to right click and click on it, and I can just type what I'm going to put on that layer, depending on what you want to do. I'm going to go back to layer 1. You'll notice how it adds kind of a blank area here. I can also click new layer, I guess, over here on the bottom right. What I'm going to do is take my paint bucket. I can hit my color swatches to flip them around and just fill my whole paper in white. In Photoshop, it automatically comes up as a white background. This one did not for me, so I'll just paint my first layer white. Then I can go into my brush tool and I can draw with my brush. Same thing as in Photoshop. Across the top, it gives you an option to increase or decrease your brush size. It also increases or decreases your softness. So if I go softness 0%, I have a hard edge. I increase my brush to 181. If I increase my softness, you'll notice how it's a softer, fuzzy line. You can move items around just by clicking the Move tool. You can also free transform things without actually going in. Like in Photoshop, you have to go into Edit and Free Transform or Free Distort. So then you can certainly go that way as well. But what's nice with this mover tool is I can do this option. I'm going to go ahead and create another new layer here. Notice how it gives me a new layer. I can scroll through my layers on the right-hand side. The one I'm working on is highlighted in green. Now let's take a box, and we can take that box and fill it with a color. If I click on the color swatch, it allows me to change to whichever color I want. The color picker is similar into Photoshop. Use my paint bucket again, and I can fill that square in. Can click the mover tool, and I can move the object around. I can go up to select and deselect to have nothing selected. I can move over to this object and actually click on it, so it automatically jumps back and forth between layers. Like in Photoshop, I can reorder layers as well. If I wanted that red square to go behind my object, I can. You'll notice there's a little circle up top. You can use that to rotate your object. And you can just click off of it once you have it set to where you want it. So up on top here, in Photoshop, you would click and hold to find more items. In this one, you'll notice when I click on the square tool, it gives me options on the top of what I want to do with it. So I could choose the ellipse tool, and I could make something circular. Use my color swatches again here. I'm going to get an orange color here. Go ahead and click orange. and get a little bit darker orange. Now I can use that gradient tool to go ahead and I have to close that out. I'm not selected on a layer right now, so that's why it's not coming up. So if I click on here, it gives me the options of linear gradient, radial gradient. I want to put it on a different layer right now. I'm on the line layer. So make a new layer, and I'm going to right click on that new layer, and I'm going to call this one orange. Now I'm selected on the orange layer, so I can use my radial gradient tool. Right now I'm in linear. If I go on radial, you'll see it gives it that circular look to give it an orange. So again, a lot of the same familiar items that are in Photoshop. Now, when it comes time to save your work, again, I didn't go over every single tool, but hopefully that gave you a start on using the online PIXLR program. For those that are in class for 2 days for the hybrid, you should have that information from being in class and going through Photoshop. But this one here is for ones that work in class and need more time to work at home, or if you're online only, this is the program that you can be using. So I'm going to go to File, and you'll notice it only gives me an option to click Save. If I right click on it, I can go Save As. Some of you have your own computers at home, so you certainly can just save it onto your computer. If you have a stream, it's possible we might need to save it into your Google Drive. But also note that it saves this as a web page. So actually, I'm going to go back. I'm going to cancel that. We're going to click on File and Save. Now it gives you an option of how you want to save it. So you can save it as a JPEG, PNG, web page, or a PXD. JPEG will flatten the image, so when you reopen it, it won't have the layers on. PXD should keep your layers, or the PNG would keep your layers intact. You can choose your quality, and I'm going to go ahead and just click download. What that'll do is it tells you the image was saved to default download folder in your device. So when I go into my device, and Chromebook should have this option, I should be able to go into my downloads, and there's my file. Okay, this is the last one I just saved right here. It saved it into my download. So Chromebook should have that option of saving it into download. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up your Google Drive and take this object. Notice how when I click and hold, you can see the orange and the red square in the line that I just created. And you can drag this into your Google Drive, or you should be able to right click on it and you can copy your file and then just go into Google Drive. Here's my documents. I'm going to do 2020 example. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to paste. So now you'll notice that my JPEG file of my untitled is in here. So that would be how you save it, and then you can use that to upload it into Schoology when you finish an assignment. Thank you.